Well, hello and welcome to I Love Gay today. And we are jumping into the world of politics today. And we are here with my friend Jonathan Lovitz. How are you, Jonathan?
I'm so happy to be with you, my friend. Congrats on the success of this series and on all the great work you've done.
Well, thank you. I mean, you and I, we have our
Been
paths
a journey.
have intertwined with each other for many, many years since back when I first met you when you were at StartOut.
Yeah, gosh, it's hard to believe how these roads wind and turn and then re-intersect with each other. But yeah, it's been you and I first met when I was at StartOut helping LGBTQ owned startups get from cocktail napkin idea into the real world, and now at the chamber helping them grow to be huge global players in the market. It's an amazing journey, and just I love, by far my favorite thing is the people I get to work with. I've worked with leaders like you and folks who help tell our story and get the word out around the world and change the narrative that being out and being successful aren't mutually exclusive. I think it's really important.
Well, from there, you took the lead with our group on NGLCC New York, and that was around the same time when I moved to New York. So we were seeing each other a lot at the different events that you were putting together.
We were, and just what a great, great network up there. I was so proud to be a part of it. My career has always sort of lived at this intersection of community and commerce. And when the opportunity came to join NGLCC at that point as Vice President of External Affairs and also the director of the NGLC New York network, it was such a great opportunity to really get knee deep, not only in how we help grow and build and connect businesses, but for me, especially as a political animal, to really get into policy. And I didn't know just how much I love it and how much that would define my life and everything that would come after it. So it was a wonderful place to start. New York was a great place to call home for 10 years. I met great entrepreneurs and great leaders like you, and then got to meet my husband and start the whole next chapter together.
It's funny, when I was with you in New York, I always thought someday he's going to run for office, but I always thought it's going to be like New York City Council member or something. But nope, you're going for it. You're running for House of Representatives in Philadelphia, where you live now.
Yeah, it is a dream come true. I always knew I wanted to continue doing a life of service, especially the last 5 years working on legislative issues for the LGBT and small business community. I love this work, and I love getting people fired up about it, whether it's to be involved in voting or getting people to know that they have a voice if they show up in halls of power. I think we all just know that there are too many straight white men over 65 making choices for the rest of us, and we've got to shift that, especially for LGBTQ people. I mean, it's fewer than I think 2% of all electeds are out. So we've got to do better so that we can be, in those rooms as the decisions are being made. And so I'm tossing my hat in, getting ready to run for the Pennsylvania State House in 2022. But it's amazing how that election starts a year out now from the primary.
Yeah. But even before, what I was going to say is that you got big shoes to fill, because there's an openly gay man in that position now, Brian Sims.
Yeah. I'm so fortunate, and I say this all the time when I get interviewed, that one of the best things that's ever happened to me is that so many of my heroes have become my close friends because of this work. Brian was the first openly gay man to be elected to the state legislature here. Since then, we've had several more, Malcolm Kenyatta, Jess Benham, and more. And I hope to join them. We can't afford to go backwards in terms of the count of representation. That's just not acceptable. So I'm really excited to fill those shoes. And also, as someone who does a lot of education and mentorship work with young leaders around the country, I hope to be part of a pipeline of many, many, many more young people who want to get into public service.
Yeah. But a lot of, even kind of going back when you were with NGLCC, I think that was probably the area that was most clear that not only where your aspirations aligned well with, jumping into politics, but the work you were doing. I was watching you do things with Richie Torres and others, and it was all based upon this idea of economic equality at the state and local level, business, supplier diversity, kind of bringing those together. And I think that's a big part of what what's going to help you now.
Well, I appreciate that, Matt. Thank you. And it was great work, especially, we had such advancements for that under the Trump years, which was a time when we did not see much progress for LGBTQ representation or protections. In fact, we saw so many communities take such a hit during that time. But we made the case that, as we see now, again, rearing its head in places like anywhere these bathroom bills or trans high school student bills are popping up, that the business community is taking the lead and saying, not only is this morally reprehensible, it is going to decimate our economy. And to be able to connect the dots even with the most conservative forces and say, hate kills economies. Equality is good for business, period. And I've made that case to conservative, liberal, and everything in between legislators. And it's always the case of, we're not inviting you to our wedding, we're inviting you to do business with us. And if in doing so, we can move some hearts and minds, we all win. But we get closer to equality when we realize there's just so much more between us to share than there is keeping us apart.
Yeah. Well, the political landscape of the state of Pennsylvania seems to be moving on up. So it's a great step. I mean, you and I, both living in Pennsylvania now, have been able to see Rachel Levine on TV for the past year with this whole pandemic. But now she's moved up into the DC White House. And so there just seems like there's a lot going on here.
There really is. I mean, you have to appreciate that the place that sort of birthed American democracy is also going to be the place where so much change in American democracy comes from. Yeah. I think that's certainly true of Dr. Levine's appointment to the health department, whether it's, my race and others, like the fact that we have a young trans man running for Erie executive right now is really, it's just, these are things that I don't think any of us thought were possible just a few years ago. And it's because we refuse to accept anything less than sort of full inclusion, whether it's in business, at home, at work, in seats of government, or anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, I love this. And like I said, I'm happy to be sharing the state with you. And I don't think when we first met that we would have ever known this was going to happen, but we're here, and I look forward to seeing where this all goes. And I'm rooting for you.
Thanks, my friend. Yeah, it's great to be here. My husband's from Pennsylvania. I've got so much family from and around the Jersey Shore and Philadelphia area. This was always part of my backyard. I never in a million years thought I'd be here. And yet it's the most home I've ever felt. And it makes sense because as I said in my campaign launch video, which everyone could see at lovitzforpa.com, my dad bought my mom an engagement ring at a jewelry store I can see out my window. So, and that was 50 years ago this year. So it's just wild that I'm sort of full circle back where it all started for so much of my family. And now I'm building the next chapter of my family here.
Yeah. Well, this is fantastic. I look forward to connecting with you again when we're back to going to events in the real world. And but in the meantime, just look forward to seeing you, and congratulations and good luck with all this.
Thank you. And to all of us, where the recovery is going to be tough ahead, but I think especially in the work that you do so well in promoting LGBT-owned businesses and the way that, because especially we can never forget that our community is also women and people of color and those with disabilities and veterans. So helping advance our community, especially now as we're in this moment of economic recovery and equity building, means helping everybody else inherently. So if you're able, if you have the ability, shop local, shop small, shop diverse, because it helps reinvigorate and reignite that, it's almost like a campfire, reignite the kindling at the bottom that keeps the whole economy roaring. So we all have a role to play in that, and especially LGBT consumers and the $917 billion we put into the economy every year. Let's use it as a force for good and really help each other out.
I hear you. Well, fantastic. Well, thanks for being here with me.
Thank you, my friend. Keep up the great work.
Thanks again. Take care now.
You too.
It feels good, so good.